Hi everybody, welcome to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. This is the test server on PlayStation 4, and in today's video we're going to be talking about scopes. We're going to be talking about how you can change the shape of the reticle in some of your scopes, change the colour, change the brightness, and we're also going to talk about zeroing as well. So this is your traditional red dot sight, and as you can see, I've got the little chevron on it. And on the PlayStation 4, what you do in order to change the shape of the chevron of the reticle is if you hold down your top right button, R2, the shoulder button, and then on the D-pad just press up and down. You can cycle through the various different shapes of reticles that are available to you. If you then, while keeping, you've got to be aim down sights as well, sorry, so it's left trigger to aim down sights, right shoulder button in, and then up and down on the D-pad to change the reticle. If at the same time, so you've still got the right shoulder button pressed down and the left trigger down, you press up and, pull up and down on your left stick, you can then change the brightness, and this is very useful in somewhere like Vikendi on the snow map if you use the red dot, because often it's a little bit too dull to be seen against the snow. So what I always do is when I'm on Vikendi and I'm using a red dot, I'll pull it down and give it its full brightness. You should be able to see. You might have to play this video full screen to see the difference. So that's on the red dot. Let's put the hollow on. So again, with the hollow, basically it's just a change between red or green, but again we can change the brightness like so. And then if we go to the 3 times, it's a change between red or green again, and especially again on Vikendi, the change of brightness can mean a lot. Now the 3 times acts a bit odd really, because it goes from like black, I guess, with no light, to bright, and so results may vary depending. And obviously if someone's against a dark background, you don't want to use that one because you won't be able to see them. Now the other scopes in your inventory don't have the ability to change the reticles. So if, for example, we put the 4 times on, switch to the Kar98, if you try and do it, nothing happens at this point, and you also can't change the brightness as well. Now the 4 times is probably my favourite distance scope, but it's the most limited in terms of what you can do with it. You can't change the reticle, you can't change the brightness, and on the PlayStation, and I think this is probably true for the Xbox and maybe the PC as well, you can't change the zeroing distance. So what I'll do now is I'll next talk about zeroing distance. Now your scopes, all of them, and in fact what I'll do, let me put the red dot back on the M416 so I can show you. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, just above where it's got my ammo count, where it says 30, you'll see zero distance, 100 meters. Now this is quite important to know. What that means is that dot in the middle of, let's see where you can see it probably best, the dot in the middle of the red dot sight, that's designed so that if you put that on someone's head, that bullet will hit exactly where the dot is, but only when they're 100 meters away. Because as you all know, when you fire a bullet, it immediately starts to fall with the force of gravity. So what that means is that if someone is further away than 100 meters, you'd have to put the red dot slightly above them. So if we go, it seems to have calmed down a bit now over here. So let's aim towards one of these targets over here. So if I was aiming towards that target there, in fact, it might be completely quiet enough where we can come over and use the firing range. On the training mode, on the test server, often it can get a bit hectic at the beginning of games. People are driving around shooting each other and generally having a good time. What's that up there? It's another one of those mystery squares. So let's go over here so I can just tell you all about this zeroing. Because handily enough, on the range we have distances. Right, so see at the 100 meter mark, if I wanted to hit, put my dot there and fire, let's get a single fire, the bullet will go exactly where I've aimed it. If I aim at the 50 meter mark though, and I fire, the bullet will go slightly high. And if someone's very close and you're aiming at the top of the head, there is a chance you'll fire over the top of the head. So always bear that in mind. Where zeroing comes in more and allowing for drop is normally at greater distance. So at 150 meters, there'll be slightly less drop. There'll be slightly more drop, sorry. So that if you were to put your reticle, say, at the top left corner of the O, I'd have to aim up slightly for the bullet to hit there. Now the same goes for the 4x sight as well. If I want to, it's zeroed if you look at the bottom to 100 meters. So if I aim and fire there, that's where the bullet will land. Let's do it again and probably just about to see it. So the bullet hits exactly where I want it to be. But if I aim further down, say to the 200 meter range, the bullet will be slightly lower. So you can allow for this just by aiming slightly higher at distances that are further away. Now you don't need to, there's not that much drop, okay, so don't go wild. And often the best way, if you're using a fast firing weapon like say a assault rifle on single fire or a DMR, rather than a bolt action, is just to fire a shot, like a ranging shot, to see where it goes, then adjust accordingly. But what you can do on the posher scopes, starting with, let me see, here we go, the 8x, not the 6x. If I use the 8x, not only can I zoom in and out, and you can do this on the 6x as well. If you hold your right shoulder button, R2, you can go up and down on the left stick while you aim down, so you go in and out. But also, if you go up and down on your D-pad, you can change the zeroing distance. So what this means is, at the moment, if I fire at the 100 meter target, the bullet will go exactly where I want it to go, right in that corner. Right, we can probably see better with this one, can't we? Let's reload. So what I'll do is, if I aim at the, let's come over here a bit, let's aim at this 300 meter, right in that corner, let's see where the bullet goes. Alright, where did that bullet go? See, it went slightly low. It's there. But if I press the right shoulder button and go up to 300 meters, now what that means is the scope has been zeroed, so in effect the angle of the scope has changed, so I don't have to aim high, I don't have to aim up here, I can aim exactly where I want to fire it, and the bullet, well, I went a little bit left there, didn't I? Let's try again. And the bullet hole is right exactly where I want it. And you can zero scopes out to 1,000 meters, so a kilometer away. Now, the bullet has a long travel time at longer distances, especially 1,000 meters. So your target would have to be still. But zeroing can be very powerful to that. The question is, however, do we really use it much in combat, in the real world? And the answer for me is definitely not. I don't bother zeroing my scopes. I prefer to simply fire one shot, and if that hits, great. If it doesn't, I adjust. Plus, I tend to find at most of the distances I'm engaging at, say even with the 8x, I've got the 8x zoomed at its least zoom as well. And so at that sort of distance, if you want to land a headshot at somebody, you don't really have to you don't really have to make any adjustment at all, because in that 100 meter to 200 meter engagement range that you will typically come across on Vikendi especially, and Miramar, Miramar you can engage at longer distances, Sanhok and Erangel, you don't really have to make that much adjustment for height. And if you simply aim at somebody, say, where their forehead is, the drop between their forehead and, say, where their neck starts, you'll still get a headshot, and that works for me. But it's interesting to know it's there, and you can play around with it, but for me it's more of a target practice thing, using the scopes. But hopefully what you've seen from this video is that changing the brightness on your red dot on your holo, or changing the shape of the reticle, can be really useful. Okay, so if you've got any questions or comments, please put them in the boxes down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Thank you very much, and I will see you again soon.